here's the true story.
Four friends pick to live in a video game.
And find out what happens when they stop being themselves.
And start being someone else.
Animal Crossing for Nintendo Gamecube.
Nobody wants to trade insects with me, no matter how many notes I leave them.
Why am I always the one cleaning the house and picking the peaches? Where's my big fat hammock time?
So tense.
Welcome to Animal Crossing, the life game that's happening every minute of every day, whether you're playing or not.
So do you want to swap fossils with me later, or?
Ready to eat for everyone.
I still remember the Christmas day I got my GameCube with Resident Evil 0. This was the first time in my life where I got a console within the first year of its launch, and what a memory that was. This is the first time I truly experienced graphics that were actually realistic looking. Thanks to the help of the CRT TVs, the 6th generation looked incredible. We have not seen a leap in jaw-dropping graphical fidelity since, in my opinion. And the GameCube was the last time that Nintendo actually competed in power with the likes of its competitors, Sony and Microsoft at the time. While the GameCube is remembered fondly for games like Zelda Wind Waker, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, and third-party titles like Resident Evil 4 and 0, there are a lot of hidden gems that you might have missed that are remembered just as fondly by those that had a chance to experience them. So I've scoured the internet, forums, videos, posts, and even opinions of my friends to find some of the most obscure, little-known, and rare titles that you probably missed. My goal with these videos is that you walk away at the end with at least one new game to try, or even add it to that backlog of yours. Why not make it just a little bit bigger, huh? But without further blabbering on, let's get into the good stuff and go over my picks for the most obscure GameCube games that you have to play. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Now, I didn't choose this game because my name is also Billy, I swear. There's more to it, so pay attention. Now, before we talk about this one, I purposely edited the box art a few seconds ago because if you don't already know, take a look at this and tell me who developed it. This game is so obviously made by Sega and specifically the Sonic team. This game screams Sega in its DNA. Even the main character could have been a playable character from Sonic Adventure. But let's talk about the actual game, because it's pretty cool and unique. So Billy Hatcher came out in 2003 and plays as a platforming game, but with a twist. As the name implies, Billy hatches eggs. He does this by rolling them around, defeating enemies, and collecting fruits to help those eggs hatch. Now, Billy on his own does not do much aside from moving and jumping around, but once he begins rolling an egg, he gains a slew of new abilities such as egg dunking, shooting, dashing, and slamming. There are about 72 different eggs to hatch in the game, all containing different animals, or some even containing helpful items. You can even hatch some of your favorite characters from other Sonic Team games such as Sonic, Tails, and Knights. The game even uses a ranking system that is similar to the Sonic Adventure franchise. There is a plot, though basic. Now, imagine the evilest crow that you can. Well, Billy and friends save a small chicken from the clutches of the evil crow, which somehow results in them being transported to another world called Morningland. Morningland is essentially inhabited by chickens and those evil crows. Specifically, one mean bastard, the Dark Raven, who wants to take everything over. Look, man, you're not playing this game for the plot, okay? You're playing this game because it's just a product of its era. It screams everything GameCube and the Sega team. It reminds me at times of the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure, which I probably spent more time in than the actual game. Oh, and it also supports that GBA link system. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg unfortunately was not a great seller, but definitely deserves a spot on this list because it's such a nostalgia trip. If you enjoyed the Sonic Adventure games, you'll likely enjoy Billy Hatcher, so go check it out. Custom Robo. The Custom Robo series expands 5 games across multiple consoles from the N64, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and the Nintendo DS. But, despite this, remains quite obscure because only the latter 2 titles made it outside of Japan. I say that that's a damn shame because Custom Robo could have had some success similar to the likes of F-Zero or Kid Icarus. And that's what this game kind of feels like, a sort of like B-tier Nintendo experience or a spin-off title. And not that that's a bad thing, I absolutely love F-Zero. Custom Robo plays as an action RPG, where you, as a commander of your Robo, battle your Robo in a virtual arena known as a Holosseum. The average size of a Robo is only about 32 centimeters tall. The main objective of the game is to engage in battle with other robos, collect all of the custom robos that you can, as well as their battle parts and items to help you customize them to your liking. So I'd have to say this game is pretty appropriately named. You can customize 5 types of parts: the chassis, gun, bomb, the pod or the backpack, and the legs. Now the art style and gameplay of this game really makes me think of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Like, just look at it. Would you just look at it? Then you're collecting custom robos and battling them. The game is basically Robo Pokemon, but live action. Oh, and it's also got a multiplayer, good for some hella fun with your pals. The game's start of the plot even reminds me of Pokemon, where you get out of bed. The main character, known as the hero, big surprise, receives a letter informing him of his father's passing. It's your father's final wish for the hero to become a Robo Commander. The hero meets up with a hunter group known as the Steelhearts, which help him get his Robo license. You then learn of the game's main protagonist, Rahu, who is an evil toy. But yeah, I don't want to spoil anything on you, but basically, the government decided to fight this evil toy by allowing citizens to battle with their own Robo toys. I mean, hey, do we play Pokemon for the plot? No. Go check out Custom Robo, super cool hidden gem. Killer 7. Killer 7 is a 2005 action-adventure game that looks like a third and first-person shooter, but actually plays a little bit more like a rail shooter. Now, right at the gate, I'm sure the first thing you notice here is this art style. Almost comic book-like, cel-shaded, very artsy, cool, dramatic. The game was written and directed by Goichi Suda, or Suda51, if that rings a bell. He's known for other titles like the No More Heroes franchise and Lollipop Chainsaw. You can control one of the 7 main characters in which you navigate the environment on rails, choosing which path to take as you come to crossroads, and then you battle enemies known as Heaven Smiles, kind of like creepy ghosts that you must enter into first-person mode and scan the environment in order to find them and then eliminate them. You'll know when they're nearby by that creepy laugh that they make. Now I have to admit, this style of gameplay did not interest me at first, but Killer 7 does it in such a unique way that you really have to play it in order to get the picture fully. This title is extremely polarizing, and you'll likely either love it or hate it. But one thing about this game that makes it very hard to hate on is the story. Basically taking place in an alternate reality of Earth in the 21st century, it is very deep and engaging and told in a way that will have you scratching your head until the very end. Explores some pretty heavy themes too, like religion, indoctrination, government conspiracy, human trafficking, insanity. It really keeps you on your toes that whole way through. Originally it was planned as a Gamecube exclusive. It did receive a PS2 port as well, though most agree that the Gamecube version is the superior version. It was also ported to PC in 2018, and at the time of this video, you can pick it up on Steam for only about $4 or $5. So if you want to try something different and unique with a deep story, give Killer 7 a go. Cubivore. This one could have almost made the top 10 for N64 video, as it was originally developed for the N64 disk drive, but we all know how that panned out. Maybe in an alternate universe. Cubivore remains in obscurity, even winning the best game that no one played at GameSpot's 2002 Best and Worst Awards. Also, it's very expensive to own a copy of this game. But Cubivore Survival of the Fittest is an action-adventure game with some RPG elements sprinkled in that almost did not make it out of Japan. Have you ever wanted to play a game where you defeat and devour your enemies, mate with multiple females, and spread your superior genes around to strengthen the species? Well, here's your chance.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
Cubivore is just as the name implies, survival of the fittest, and very much showcasing natural selection. Your objective is to devour the meat of your enemies and reproduce and mutate into the ultimate life form in order to defeat the game's protagonist, the killer Cubivore. The combat is rather basic, but satisfying, as you attack your opponents and tear off their limbs. Most of the combat revolves around learning your enemy's attack patterns and getting hits on their weak points. You can attack, jump, evade, run, block. The colors of the Cubivore and the enemies have varying effects on your abilities, such as the Redipeds, as they're called, having the best jumping, the Bluocytes have great attack range, and the Greodons have the best running. All come with their own downsides to each color, so choose wisely. Overall, Cubivore takes the rather violent side of nature and turns it into something a little bit more lighthearted. Just a tad. I mean, look at this guy. Fearsome. So give this little known gem a spin and see what you think. You won't be disappointed on this one. Phantasy Star Online. I wanted this game so damn bad as a kid. This was at the time when online gaming was really just starting to take off, and I really wanted that MMO experience so bad. I was pretty heavy into RuneScape, and I wanted something that I could just play on my beloved GameCube. But, as the name implies, Phantasy Star Online wasn't exactly what the GameCube was known for. I bet half you viewers didn't even know it could go online. Originally released on the Dreamcast and later ported to the GameCube, Phantasy Star Online is on the very short list of games with available online modes on the GameCube. Phantasy Star plays as an action RPG with your standard RPG character and class creation. Now, while it's called Phantasy Star Online, it is playable offline as well. But as with most MMOs, they're more fun with your friends. Now, the official servers for the game went down in 2007. The game, though, has developed quite a cult following over the years, and you can find private servers to play the game on, which remain active to this day. So if experiencing what is regarded as the first online RPG for consoles is something you'd like to do, Phantasy Star Online's gameplay is actually pretty good and worth checking out, even if it's solo. It's not even too badly priced, just gotta find that modem adapter for your cube and set up that online private server. Geist. Geist was released for the GameCube in 2005. Interestingly, the Japanese version was actually cancelled, and it was only released in North America, Europe, and Australia. Geist plays as a action-adventure, first-person shooter-style game in which you play as a disembodied spirit who cannot interact with the physical world. Your only means of interaction is through the possession of living beings and objects. Depending on the host you've chosen to possess, you gain varying abilities which could pertain to how you proceed and complete your mission. You can possess objects and apply some force to them to cause them to move. In order to possess a living host, though, you must terrify them in order to make them vulnerable to possession. This style of possession gameplay offers something very unique on the GameCube as you use your host's varying abilities to solve puzzles, engage in combat, or squeeze into tight spaces. Strangely enough, being a ghost, you cannot go through walls and doors. I always thought that was a little funny. The general plot follows John Ramey, a scientist and member of a counterterrorism team, as he is sent to investigate the Volks Corporation to retrieve an undercover agent. During the mission, things go sideways as John is captured and his soul is removed from his body using experimental Volks Corp tech. John then meets the spirit Gigi, who teaches him the basics of being a ghost, and thus your new mission to uncover the mysteries revolving around the Volks Corporation, rescue the undercover agent, and attempt to retrieve your physical form. Oh, it also has multiplayer. Man, Gen 6 was a really good time. Almost all those games had a mode to play with your friends, and we didn't have to wait decades for sequels, no DLC, full games were on the disc, no day one patches and downloads. Anyway, go play Geist if you want a fresh take on the first-person adventure genre. Odama. Have you ever wanted to play a tactical war game but thought, man, you know what would make this whole battle a whole lot better? A giant freaking pinball. Well, it's nice to know I'm not the only one, cause here's Odama. Taking place in feudal Japan before games taking place in feudal Japan was cool, you play as a young general, Yamanouchi Kagetora, who is hell-bent on avenging his father's death by reviving the most obviously effective weapon in history, the Odama. The Odama is a massive pinball designed to flatten all that are in its path. Using your giant pinball flippers, you must make your Odama roll over your enemies and destroy their defenses, all while trying not to flatten your own guys. And on top of that, you know the GameCube microphone? Me either. Well, it is compatible with this game. You can yell commands at your troops, you can tell them to move left or right or retreat or advance. You know what this game would be really fun though? Just think of this. Bunch of dudes, some alcohol, dark room, one dude, joystick in the hand, the other dude using his mouth to yell into the microphone. Okay, calm down. There's a girl or two in there probably. But this game sounds so much more fun drunk. Probably the state of mind they must have been in while making it. Plot? Well, you won't believe it, but there is actually a plot. The young General Yamanouchi's father was betrayed in a coup by another general, Karasuma Genshin, to avenge his clan and preserve their philosophy, the way of Nintendo. Oh, Jesus Christ, you know what? There's really not much of a plot here. It's just kind of fun to scream commands at men and crush them with your balls. Where else are you getting that need satisfied? You know what? Forget I asked. Doshin the Giant. Another game that was originally for the N64 disk drive, except this one actually released. It was later ported to the Gamecube after it obviously could not succeed on the 64 disk drive. Now, what else leads this game's obscurity is the fact that it only released in Japan and Europe. Didn't have any North American release ever come to light. This one's even produced by Shigeru Miyamoto. And if I have to tell you who that is, just unsub, never come back to this channel, you are not welcome here. Doshin the Giant is known as a god game. Yep, that's right. We've had Jesus' hair wrong the whole time. This is what he was actually rocking. You control Doshin, and it's your job to either help or hinder an island of worshippers. The villagers will release either love or hate depending on your actions, which will cause Doshin to grow in size if he gets enough of either feeling. The goal? Well, there's really not much of one besides trying to cause all the different villagers to erect either love or hate monuments in your honor. You do this by helping them build, raising and lowering the land, moving things around, stopping natural disasters, or if you want to be evil, you just wreak havoc, break things down, light things on fire, and just generally do the opposite of what needs to get done. Ultimately, you are God, and in this sandbox-style game, do whatever you want. Play it multiple times, try different scenarios and outcomes. Doshin is completely yours to explore and enjoy. Gotcha Force. Gotcha Force was Capcom's 2003 attempt at capturing some of that Pokemon-esque hype of the early 2000s. They wanted those toys, the merch, the TV spin-offs, the movies, all of it. But Gotcha Force fell flat hard. Critics largely hated this game, but it gained a cult following, and fans of the game regard it very highly. The main focus of the game is based in its combat, in which it plays as a third-person shooter. As a Gotcha Force commander, you pick your Gotchaborgs, basically little robots, to put on your force of your team. Then you enter Arena, where you and the enemy are constantly locked onto each other, even though you can swap to other enemies and allies. You then use your attacks and abilities. You've got close range and long range and dodges and blocks in an attempt to defeat your opponents. Once you defeat or are defeated, the next Borg in the force joins the battle until one force has no more Borgs. As you progress through the game, you can collect and unlock additional Borgs, over 200 of them, to expand your arsenal and collections. The plot is super simple. Earth is being attacked by some Gotchaborgs called the Death Force. A child named Ku finds a Borg called G-Red, basically kind of like the game's Pikachu, and forms a Gotcha Force to combat the Death Force. With a Metacritic score of 56 out of 100, fans of the game widely disagree. It contains fast-paced action with lots of unlockables to keep you busy, and it's easy to see how its bright colors and style really capture that early 2000s feel. Definitely worth trying this one out. Cell Damage. A vehicular combat game released for the Xbox and Gamecube. For some reason, the PS2, though, was left out, except in Europe where it got a port called Cell Damage Overdrive about 6 months later. Cell Damage takes a cartoonish approach to over-the-top vehicular combat in the likes of the Twisted Metal franchise. The story revolves around 6 characters from a fictional cartoon called Cell Damage. In it, the characters bash and destroy each other to please their TV audiences, but since they're cartoons, they can't die and they just instantly regenerate. The gameplay revolves around playing 12 different levels and 3 game modes, from Smack Attack, where you attack other players to gain points, Gate Relay, where you race to checkpoints, and Flag Rally, where you race to collect flags. You can pick up a large variety of weapons, from black holes and boxing gloves, grenades, chainsaws, baseball bats, chain guns, and more to bash your opponents into oblivion. A fun game, especially as a multiplayer battle game in the likes of Mario Kart's battle modes or Diddy Kong Racing. Cell Damage's graphics help it stand the test of time, as it appears less aged than other titles due to that cell shading and cartoon appearance. Luckily, if you want to check out Cell Damage for yourself, it received multiple ports over the years and can be played on PS5, Xbox Series, and even the Nintendo Switch. This one's definitely worth having as a fun, mindless party game. And that concludes my picks for the top 10 obscure GameCube games you have to play. I hope this video helped you discover something new to check out. I know it did for me in my research, and hey, if you check out a game from this list and you enjoyed it, come back and drop a comment and let me know. I appreciate the support, and if you can like and share the video to help the channel grow, and of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. Let me know down below what console I should cover next as well, and if you missed the last top 10, I'll leave it up on the screen. Thank you very much for watching.